Court of Fairies and Fiction. Akapath Girls Podcast. Hosts Mel and Liv. Episode 4, Where Is She Now?
Alright, so if the mother, by chance, survived and she is glamored as Maja the Healer, which she's very old, and we will do bonus content on a time travel theory for that. But right now we're going with the fact that she was a seer, right? She got Lauren out to the Crescent City world. Somehow she couldn't make it through the portal, and so Tamlin glamored her, or she glamored herself, depending on her magic, into an older fae, right? Because nobody would notice her.
Who would pay attention to an old
Who would
healer?
pay attention to her? Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. We know that she took in Cassian, took in Azriel, all of that. Other than the fact that she was like Illyrian and she liked to fly and that she was like a seamstress or whatever, we don't really know that much else about her. Like, she could have had healing magic.
She could have.
Does Rhys have healing magic? I forget.
I don't feel like he does. I mean,
actually, he after he tortured her, he healed her arm.
He did heal her arm,
mountain, so he does have some healing magic.
And he can help with pain, like we know, because he can take it away from people. But
all right, so saying that the mother has healing magic, that would make sense. But even if she was glamored, she could have just taken up residence somewhere, studied to become a healer, whatever. There has to be a reason that Rhys chose this like super old lady to be the only private Night Court Royals healer.
Yes.
And like she can, and the fact that like her magic is so strong, she can heal Cassian's shredded wings.
I know.
I mean, she can't do a C-section, but that's another
don't open that can of worms. That'll be a whole series on its own too.
But yeah, so what if she purposely like learned that to get closer to the inner circle? Like if she just showed up and was like, I can be your personal healer, like I need a place to stay, or like I don't know, whatever the situation was.
Or to see her family, her sons grow up, you know, like they'll never know that it's her, but I can at least see my son.
Yeah, it's weird. I wanted to mention that the basis for this theory was all of the scenes that Maja was around, because it's very fishy if you put it together. Yes, again, she's a healer. She's going to be in the scenes where people need healing. But there's a significance here. So, as I said, the mother took in Cassian and then took in Azriel. Father probably wasn't thrilled about that, but whatever. Yeah. So basically, they're her boys. Right? They're her boys. Right. Pretty much.
Right.
And the three most significant times that she was around was when all three of them were dying. Cassian, Azriel, and Rhys. Except for the whole when he was dying on the battlefield, because obviously she wasn't in the middle of the war.
She's not gonna be there. Right.
But so it was the times that Cassian's wings got shredded, right?
Right.
She healed him. When Azriel was shot by Jurian with the ash wood, Mor winnowed him back to the house. He was bleeding out, and they're like, get Maja, get Maja, get Maja. She was like panicking. We don't actually see Maja show up, but it's assumed that she came and she healed him. Right?
Right.
And then the birth, where if Feyre died, Rhys was gonna die. And she was there. Which, again, if she was a seer, she would have known she would have been there if she became a healer.
True.
And she would have known that Nesta was going to save them.
I was going to say, because if she was, then why didn't they prevent...
I know. Well, maybe she didn't know. Maybe she didn't know that Nyx was going to have wings, because again, I think it was a punishment for them using magic at the High Lords meeting, like Sam's video on TikTok.
I actually really loved that.
I believe that because the bone carver didn't even know that he was going to have wings if that's who he was appearing as.
If that's who it was, because it's one of two things. And I do really love Sam's theory about like that happening, or it's Rune, which it could be too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
As a child.
But
again, like, why would the thing is that he appeared like that to Feyre and not to Rhys. That's what gets me.
That is a really good point, and that wouldn't make a lot of sense why appear to Feyre, because Feyre's not gonna put the two together.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think the bone carver appears as like somebody who knows like your weaknesses.
Okay.
Because Rhys saw Jurian. And obviously we know Jurian was the ring under the mountain. And he was like, oh, all the shit you did. Like, he knows Rhys, right? Like, creepily, disgustingly knows Rhys.
You want to know what though? Okay, I want to take a minute and talk about that, because I was always like, why the fuck is it Jurian? Because Jurian had nothing to do with like Rhys being killed.
Because he knows his weaknesses, what he did to survive, all the bad shit that he did, everything he said. Like, he could be Rhys's downfall if he chose to be.
So is this going to be the future? Like, is this a future where Jurian betrays Rhys?
I mean, the bone carver carves your death. So somehow the bone carver knew that Nyx was gonna be Feyre's death, even though he might not have known about the wings. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw that it was Jurian for Rhys, I was like, huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like,
feel
I know
like
he knows his weaknesses. I know that Rhys is very like iffy about him.
Yes.
But I'm like, huh.
I just feel like it hasn't come into play, because people have argued that it was the Hybern War.
Yeah.
And Jurian, and he died at the cauldron or whatever.
But that had nothing to, but like Jurian wasn't there.
No,
like he was there, he was fighting, but he wasn't there.
He didn't really have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
So like,
and the fact that and the fact that Cassian never says who he saw is also very sus.
It bothers me so much. Who did Cassian see, guys? I constantly
who would be
think about
Cassian's downfall?
Why won't he talk about it? What does that mean, Sarah? Like, I'm really upset about that. And don't you say your theory, damn it.
Did he see Nesta? Did he see Bryce? Did he see Rune? Could have been any of the three. Maybe he just didn't know what to say because he didn't know who it was. Maybe it was Bryce. Right?
What would leave him that shocked? Could it be Bryce?
He was shook. But like, I feel like if you're that shocked, like, he was more shocked than confused.
Yeah. And he almost was like scared in it. Like, Cassian rarely gets scared, right?
I think it was Nesta. Honestly.
I think he won't say it because it might be Nesta.
Yeah.
But why? Why would his mate? What's gonna happen? That's gonna.
Again, are they mates? I get so mad.
Don't even start with that right now.
Bro, there is so much that says they're not actually mates. And I've gotten so much hate for this. But there is just so many Easter eggs that hint to them not actually being mates. Just because they say they're mates doesn't make them mates.
I just want to say, though, okay, and like, I love Sarah J. Maas. Yeah. Love her book so much, but like, if she legit tortures me with this, I will never trust another author. Like, I read I read a Fourth Wing thing, and I can't spoil it for you, but we have to talk about it after. But like, I think people are reacting to Fourth Wing based off of trauma that's been inflicted from SJM.
Oh boy.
So
Oh
you
yeah,
need
how
it.
they're like, oh, is he gonna be the next Tamlin?
Yes.
Like,
Yes. And
fuck
also, like,
off.
I know.
I'm like
Fuck off,
Dane.
dude.
I'm like Dane is literally the mind fucker, and you're saying he's Tamlin and not Rhys. Give me a break.
People can't like
Come on.
connect the two because like
They
Tamlin
won't.
or Dane never did anything good ever for Violet, and like Tamlin fucking did all this shit for Feyre.
Like,
So
saved her
I don't know.
life, all this
Okay,
whatever.
I know.
But anyways,
we rounded it out
so
again.
but yeah, I think if she's alive, she absolutely could be Maja because she was literally there for every like panicked moment.
Yeah.
When they would need her around.
Yeah.
And going back to what she said about the ring, like, if you're wearing this ring, I'll always be with you.
I do find that very odd.
I do find it very like Feyre's wearing it now because it was her engagement ring.
I'll always be with you.
So again, with the whole Sarah saying things literally and then some things figuratively, when Rhys said that the mother said that, she was alive.
Yeah.
She had given him the ring as he was training in the Illyrian camps, like as a young boy or whatever, because he was scared, you know. And she's like, as long as you're wearing this ring, I'll always be with you. And I'm like, is that a literal thing? Like, did you really bind your soul to the ring?
Is this like Horcrux status here? Like, is this what we
going
need
back to the
prepared for?
6-pointed star
I
with
know.
like it summons people?
Yes. I'm telling you, and like I know you and I have said this 1,000,001 times, but like I'm convinced Crescent City 3, we are gonna see mom and sister. Mom and like I
We
think that's
have to. Okay, even if the mom is dead, Lauren has to be the sister. She has to be. There's no, why would you not? If you have that opportunity as an author and there's all these connotations, why would you pass up that opportunity?
Well, and okay, so I was thinking, I know, why would you? Because no one believes it.
No one believes us.
No
They're
one
like, they're
believes this
fucking
theory.
crazy.
Every single time I post about it, like on Instagram, on Facebook, everyone's like, "You're a nut, tinfoil hat," like,
I know.
and then they go like this.
Overthinker. Oh God, not the overthinkers.
Okay, wait, Mel, has anyone said to you yet? I just don't think it's possible because too many things don't add up. And Rhys's account is that they're dead, and I'm like,
yeah,
you guys, use your
timeline. And he said that he saw their heads.
Yes,
their heads could be glamored. They can't be glamored because they're dead. But we saw Andros as a wolf dead, and he never turned back into a male. So,
and it was a pelt the entire time.
Like, what the fuck?
Like, where's your imagination?
Come on.
And also, like, why are you putting so much stock into
what Rhys says?
Yes, because we've been proven wrong before.
And it's a second-hand account. He wasn't there. This is most likely 99.99999% the story his father told him.
Yes. And then he's just like talking about like digging the heads. I mean, my God, you guys.
Burying the heads. Yeah.
And also, why would SJM bring a new character, Lauren, in who has all of these things that we're going to talk about?
Not just that, but in the bonus chapter.
Oh, can we just talk about and it was not a widely distributed bonus chapter
That's why I'm annoyed. Because she puts all this shit in the like hidden bonus chapters. Like, I can't tell you how many people still haven't read the bonus chapter on Azriel from Silver Flames. Every time I post about it, they're like, what bonus chapter? What are you talking about? And I was like, what?
How do you guys? When I learned,
still don't know.
I know
it's online.
When I learned there were bonus chapters, and like also praise God, like thank you to the people who
actually told everyone.
Yes, yeah. Instead of kind of like held it a secret, and like I understand it's like fun to like know more information than others, but like Help a girl
Come on.
out here.
Help a girl out. Come on. Like, I fully expect for somebody to post all the HoFast bonus chapters online. I hope. Because
they will.
or at least I think Bloomsbury did at one point, and then someone took them and they put them on their blog, like
Yes.
forever. So then
Yeah.
when you search up the Akasef bonus chapters, they're like on that person's blog, and I love them
That's
forever for that.
And like I also love Tumblr because without Tumblr, I would never would have had access to the Lauren bonus chapter.
Okay, I'd also just want to say people could say that we have tinfoil hats, but have you seen some of the posts on Tumblr? Come on.
Oh, I like of all the posts that you're gonna call us crazy for, the Lauren Tamlin theory
It's
is
not
like
that far out.
it's
Come
not
on.
that far out because the whole story
Yeah.
starts with them, right?
Yeah.
The whole feud starts with
The
sister
whole
mother,
entire history.
the history.
Come on.
It's not crazy. It's very logical and it makes sense.
It does. But I don't know if I've actually said this while we were recording, so I'm going to repeat this. I'm
Yeah,
sorry if
go
I
ahead.
already have. But there was I'm trying to think. There was an interview with SJM and I don't remember which one it was. Crap. I know I saw it online. I didn't see it like as a video or anything, but I saw it online and it gave a rundown of whatever she said. And so when it came to people asking her about like the Akasif books, this was after Aka War. So it was before
Okay.
Akasif. And she was talking about the future books and she's like, yeah, they're all gonna follow a different pairing from here on out, because as we know, like Nessian was Akasif.
Yeah.
But she also said that these books are going to be set before and during the Akatar timeline.
We called it.
Before the timeline. So I swear to fucking God, if the only before timeline we get is Moore's story, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
Oh no.
I don't give a flying fuck about Moore. I'm sorry.
I don't.
The only thing about Moore that I even relatively care about is Eris.
Yes. Yes.
That's the only
Okay.
reason why I would want her story, is just to liberate Eris from her
Yes.
fucking lies. That's it.
That is it. That's the only reason Moore matters to me, because she is the Regina George. She's a fucking liar.
She is.
The
She's a pathological
meanest.
liar, the mean girl
Yes.
of the inner circle. Like,
I
you
don't
could say
see
that
a
Amryn was too in Akasif, but Moore, like, I
No.
don't think her and Nesta ever made up, did they? Well,
No,
they were like,
Moore never, ever is nice to Nesta. Like, she's a perpetual bitch throughout the entire thing. I'm
draping
sorry.
herself across Cassian, making
Oh.
him, or not making him, but asking him to buy her lingerie, and then he does.
Lingerie. Bitch.
Yeah.
She knew they were mates. They all knew
I
that they were mates, by the way.
They knew they were mates. They knew that they
You
might.
you don't think that they knew?
Oh, I think that they think that they wanted to be
Or-
mates, at
yeah.
least.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the fact that Moore is like, oh, I like need him as my roadblock to Azriel. Like, Azriel's never even asked you out. She's acting like he's after her, and I hate when people say this. How they're like,
Yeah.
well, Azriel, like, she doesn't want you. Get over it. Like, he's been over it.
Okay.
He's been over it. He's never asked her out. He's never
No.
pursued her. He
No.
can see that she doesn't want him that way. He knows.
And that's what, like, I hate when people
It's
say that. And
not-
like someone said the other day, or I read this online, like
Mhm.
Azriel's like an incel or something. He did that creepy dude in the basement on the computer. Okay. First of all, that's not true, because like you said, he never forced himself on Moore. He just was like always asking himself, like, why is the bond not snapping? Like, I love her. And like, also, I do think that there's something maybe a little bit more to the fact that he loved her for like 500 years. I don't know. But also, like,
it's not like evil or creepy to have a crush,
no.
especially when he never asked her out. Like, he knew
The
she didn't
whole-
want it.
Yes.
Like, he never asked her. She says that. She's like, no, he never like pursued me or asked me out or anything, but I can see in his eyes, or whatever the fucking crap is that she said. And then she's like, I know that I've been leading him on. She admits it. And then she's like, well, Cassian is like, it's just easier. Like, it's easier to use both of them. Like, what is wrong with you?
I just don't get that threesome relationship. Like, and like also like does Cassian not get what's going on, or is he just like, I don't care? Like, right?
Every time somebody says that little threesome, I just keep thinking of what Eris said when he's like, I didn't know Illyrians were in the habit of fucking their sister.
Yes, yes.
Cassian's like, she's like my sister.
I fucking love Eris because he just like calls it out. Like, can we be real?
Love him so much.
And like, I love Cassian. You know, I'm like obsessed with him.
Oh, come on,
Obviously,
Cass.
I have a Cassian shirt from Mel's. Just so you guys know,
Tamlin Stan.
that's probably the best way to hold it up. Actually, instead of like staying up.
But anyway, not that we like went into a whole more anti-Moore rant.
Okay.
But
So-
back to the Lauren and the mother and all of that. But
yes.
yeah, so if we're under the impression that she was a seer and she like knew all this was gonna happen, she knew what she had to look like, right? Or like be, then she would have also known about Lauren's affair with Tamlin, wouldn't she have?
Totally. She could have seen it. She could have seen it and prepared to help for that
Mhm.
day.
Well,
Right?
so maybe the mother is the one that knew about the portals and stuff, and she told the daughter. And then Lauren told
Yes.
Tamlin and drew it in the gallery to like, this is what my mom taught me, and this is where the portals are, and
Yes. Okay, and
Right?
also where were they heading to that day? Like they were up in the Illyrian Mountains, kind of by Ramiel, right?
no.
Okay.
I
no.
thought that at first. I reread it. I might have mentioned this in the last video. I don't remember.
Did it say?
But yeah, so Rhys said that he was supposed to meet them halfway to the war camp.
To the war camp.
Yeah, because they were going to visit him.
Okay.
He was training again.
Okay.
Remember, he was training the younger Illyrians, which made no sense, but
Right.
and they were going to visit him. And he was supposed to meet them halfway, and he just never did. And basically, Tamlin and his brothers and his father cut them off.
How did they know again where they
Because Rhys
ahead.
says that Tamlin told his father where they were going to be because Rhys told Tamlin that they were coming to visit him. So he like, first of all, Tamlin doesn't know the Night Court lands, right?
No.
So he would have had to known the exact route that they were going to take. And why would Rhys tell him, like, this is the route they
Yes.
have to take. This is where I'm going to meet them. Like, if you see this landmark, you're in the right place. Not to mention, how did they get into the Night Court with Valaris warded so heavily? You have to go through Valaris to get to Illyria.
I think you have all these are really good points, but like, why would Rhys make it a point to tell Tamlin?
I know.
Why the fuck would Tamlin care if his sister and his mom were coming to visit him in the war camp unless Tamlin was maybe like emotionally involved or wanted to see Lauren or was asking about her? Maybe.
Unless Rhys knew that unless Rhys knew that they had a thing, like he somehow got it from Lauren and then
or had
pretended he didn't know. I don't know.
It's weird. It
just
weird.
doesn't. I know that this is probably going to click later, but like it's not. The puzzle pieces aren't going together right now.
They're not adding up.
They're not adding up. Because yeah, like Tamlin would never be allowed in the Night Court.
No.
They didn't even like Rhys being friends with him outside the Night Court.
The dad would never allow
them in at all. So
See,
which actually puzzle piece. Remember how we said that what if the father was in on their deaths?
Yes. Yeah.
So what if, let's just say, he somehow anonymously got word to, I almost said Serlin because I named his father Serlin in my fic, but what if he almost got word to Tamlin's father anonymously?
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, but
I-
still, would they trust an anonymous letter?
I think there was so much hatred there that they would do it. What?
Unless it was a letter, right?
Right?
Tamlin found the letter,
Yes.
gave the letter to his father. And that's why the whole thing is Tamlin told his father where they were gonna be.
It
Right?
could be a letter. It could
Could be
totally,
like by proxy.
but okay, but
But
here's the thing. Reese makes it sound way more intentional. Like
yeah.
Tamlin,
Tamlin told him exactly where they were gonna be. Okay, but why did you tell Tamlin exactly where they were gonna be?
Right.
Why would
And
he care?
Okay, so is this how the conversation went down? Tamlin, I'm Reesan. Tamlin, my sister and my mom are coming to visit me in the Illyrian war camp at mile 512 at 12 o'clock on Thursday. Like, what the fuck?
This is where I'm meeting them.
Yeah. On the
I'm
map.
meeting them around this time at
in the
this
mountains.
landmark in the Night Court. I know you don't know any of our lands, but it'll be easy to see. It's another mountain. It's just one of the millions of mountains
that we
You'll
meet
see
by.
it. Can't miss it. What?
It just doesn't make sense, man.
Doesn't, and I don't know whether this is just like Sarah J. Maas putting it in like the second book, just thinking, oh, this makes sense and it would twist people against Tamlin.
Yeah.
But like, if you're gonna write twists like this, like you have to make them make sense.
Yeah.
And I think that she correctly guessed that most of the fandom would be like, yeah, Tamlin told his father, pro Reese, woohoo. But it's like, you also have to look at the details because details are important.
Yeah.
And they have to, again, at least make a little bit of sense. This does not add up.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out about SJM too. Like you said, is like either she, and we talked about this like our last episode, she's either brilliant because not only to predict an entire fandom's reaction to a character and how strongly they felt about it.
I mean, not to sound mean, but I always sound mean. But like 90% of Bookstagram will automatically fall for the dark, shadowy dude.
Yeah.
No matter what he does.
Yeah.
Even if he's just a cold-hearted killer for no reason and like somehow finds love in his stone cold heart for one person, they're gonna be like,
well, but that's what's so funny because like
what matters? Characters matter. Like,
yes.
the morality of the characters actually matter.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if Tamlin's such an asshole and such a villain, like, wouldn't they love him? I don't
Exactly.
know.
It makes no sense. So she would have had to have predicted that they would love Reese for being bad, right?
Yeah.
But then also hate Tamlin for being the same or less amount of bad.
Yeah.
Just because he was the first love interest and blonde.
And blonde. Yeah. He's not
I
like
swear to God, half the fandom only hates him because he's blonde, which is so fucking stupid. I'm just gonna say it. If you hate a character for their hair color, you're fucking dumb. I just stop, please.
When
I can't tell you how many comments.
I
can't tell you how many comments I've gotten on my like Tamlin art that I post or whatever, where it's just like, ew, a blonde. Like, what?
A blonde?
I have no idea where these people's heads are at.
When did we start hating blonde men? When have they become unattractive? Like,
they're hot.
They're super.
I don't know. I like the blondes and the redheads, so I'm not on that boat. I mean, aside from Azriel, I fucking love Az, but
I love Az and Cassian, let's be real. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I do like the Bat Boys. I'm not gonna lie about that, but
yeah, I can't unless the sister was, again, I don't always remember what we've put in the past videos.
Okay, wait a
I'm so
second.
bad at this. But unless the sister had worked at the library with Clotho, Gwyn's job before she had her job, right? Like, Gwen's only 28, so this would have been like centuries ago, right? We don't know when Clotho got to the library, when her stuff happened, right? Again, she's very sus. She seems older than she is. I know that it mentions that she has like a younger face, but she's Fae, so she could be as old
You
as
never know.
You never know. But if the sister was one of the acolytes or scholars there, right? Kind of
Mhm.
like Meryl,
Yeah.
it would make sense because I don't think the father would have let her train because females
No.
weren't training at that point, right?
Well, right.
Father wouldn't have let her train. What else was she gonna do? She couldn't be a
Right.
high lady, so she wasn't gonna be the heir. Like, what else would there be for an Illyrian female to do other than house chores? And if the mother was alive, she was handling that.
No.
She could have worked at the library.
Oh, totally.
So she could have like learned all this shit because Gwen mentions like, oh, Meryl showed up one day, which again is weird in and of itself.
Super
So
sus.
Meryl knows some sort of portal somewhere. But Gwen was like, yeah, I got promoted. So it means that like there were other people, there's like other scholars and stuff there. So, I mean, there's a high possibility that the sister could have worked at the library too. Because, I mean, they owned the House of Wind. They owned where it was.
And why would Reese and Feyre have that idea to do that to Nesta, where she trains in the morning and works in the library because it steadies the mind after a hard day of training?
Yeah.
Maybe in the past, someone else used to do that. Maybe that's how they know.
Yeah. Because
Right?
again, like rebel little sister vibes, they were like, go work at the library. Go.
Down into the darkness. We don't like your type here, women. So I have an idea. Okay, so I had an idea just now, and I have to share it with you, and I want to hear what you think. So you know how Reese was like, I think telling Feyre that he was the one that told Tamlin like that he was meeting the family halfway or whatever. And I know we haven't discussed this. Okay, what if Reese blames Tamlin so much because Reese didn't tell Tamlin that they were meeting? What if Lauren told Tamlin that she was going to go meet her brother on that path? Right? And that's why Reese blames him so much, is because he betrayed Lauren.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe a thought?
It's weird though, because he says like specifically like me and Tamlin were friends. I had told him where I was meeting my family that day.
Oh, that's right. He did say that.
But again, Tamlin wouldn't know your lands. How would he know where to stop? Like,
was Tamlin there before? Had he visited the Night Court before? Was there a meeting place? I don't know.
Through the portal?
Portal?
Did Lauren pick the meeting place?
Yeah. I wonder.
And
It's
again,
like,
if we're thinking that the father like beat it out of him or like threatened the mother or whatever, like that would be the only place Tamlin would know to go anyway, right?
Right.
Because he was definitely dragged there by force. Come on.
Oh God.
All these people.
These comments of, oh, he's pathetic, he gave it away. Dude, you guys,
he had no reason to.
Yes.
Even putting aside the Lauren theory, if you don't want to believe us about that, him and Reese were friends. We already know that Tamlin doesn't just betray people. Like, Feyre got his whole court burned to the ground, and he still saved her life at Hybern that day, gave up his disguise with Hybern to do so. He could have let the hounds rip them all to shreds. has no loyalty to Azriel, to Feyre anymore, to Elaine. He has no loyalty to them. He didn't have to save them.
He could have put his court first. He could have. And been like, screw them.
He could have put him and Lucian first, too.
Yeah.
Because they were the ones there spying, right?
Yeah.
But see, now that I'm thinking about it, what if he was so desperate to save them because he was thinking of the day in the Illyrian camp that he couldn't save the other two?
Oh my God. I would believe it. I would believe it. And I think about this a lot in his actions, like on other things, like so like that. He's replaying past events. I also think about, you know how someone had brought up like, oh, he didn't fight for Feyre at the wedding when Rhys showed up. Like, and Lucian was like, what are you doing? Like,
he did though. Like he did all he could do.
He did all he could do, but also like I feel like when we see Tamlin act oddly, it's because he's having
PTSD.
Yeah,
absolutely.
To the Lauren mom death.
And more proof about this is that we've seen him do it before, actually, like on page when he is saving Rhys at the war. We always bring this up, but when Feyre's on the ground begging for Rhys's life, and it says his eyes shift.
Yeah.
And he's playing back being on the ground, begging Amarantha for her life. So he's done it on page before. And I think that was probably the first time that we actually just caught it because it was more obvious then.
Yes.
Because we had been there to witness the past event that he was remembering that time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Whereas all the other times, like, it happened before the series. So we didn't know what he was thinking of or remembering.
Yeah.
But that would also track in regards to him wearing the baldric to Hybern and trying to get them to think, like, I am on your side.
I'm signaling to you. And
you know?
I think that anytime, and I know we brought this up in the past video of how, like, Feyre comes back to the spring court after, like, being at the night court, and everyone was like, this is a red flag. He's like, I have to ask you about the night court, and, like, I need you to draw it out.
He doesn't know the territory. That's why I'm so shocked. Like, how would he know where to go? Like, okay, so you've never been to my state. That would be like me saying, like, oh, meet me at the pub down the street for me. This is what it's called.
Yeah.
You would still have no idea where to go.
I would have no idea. Like he doesn't know the night court. Like, he's asking Feyre to draw it. Like, but then they can show up. It doesn't make sense.
But oh my God. But she drew the mural on the wall, right? Is that when she was telling him where they were gonna meet?
Was she like, did they spend time in that library together? And she's like, oh, and this is here, and this is here, and this is where I meet Rhys for the war camps.
Yeah. But still, like, you're gonna know the place from the mural? Yeah. That would still be super hard.
That would be super hard.
They would only really know where the portals are, and then they'd have to figure it out from there.
Yeah, and I'm even trying to, like, okay, do you remember who was talking about? Someone was talking about winnowing. I think it was like Cormac and Crescent City or something like that. Don't quote me on that. But he's like, someone was saying that you kind of have to know, like, where you're winnowing to.
It was
you know,
was it? I don't know if it was Rhys or Azriel. For some reason, I think it was Azriel, but
I thought of Azriel too.
Okay, maybe it was Azriel. I think it's Rhys, but for some reason, my head is telling me it's Azriel. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so they're like, oh, well, Azriel can't winnow. He can only move through his shadows, which everyone calls it winnowing, but it's not winnowing. It's like it's like shadow walking.
Shadow walking?
It is, yeah. That's what I call it. I don't know. It's like shadow wisping. Shadow wisping. He like turns into.
I like it.
But anyway, so winnowing is like, they described it like folding a napkin.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
good
you're
point.
here, you know where you want to go. You just close your eyes and you bring the two spots together
Together.
in your head, and then you're like there.
So, but like still you have to have knowledge, right?
Of
that.
where you're going.
Yeah.
Unless they used Under the Mountain, which I mentioned before.
Or maybe
'Cause-
Tamlin's father knew of the spot. Like maybe Tamlin's dad had been there before.
Maybe.
I don't, but still.
I still think the whole Easter egg about Under the Mountain is weird. That they mentioned it like after it's already crumbled and they can't use it. Like, why mention it again?
Yeah.
It was
I-
weird.
I-
It was weird. Because the way that, like, first of all, how did Feyre know this? First and foremost. But she always knows like everything the author knows, which is odd because in the story she shouldn't know these things. But
True.
she was like, just the fact that it was Feyre saying it and not Lucian, I feel like Lucian would have more information about this. But when she was like, yeah, if, Under the Mountain was destroyed, we could have just taken the tunnels from here back to the Night Court. Where did that come from?
That's a very, very good point.
Remember? Because it was crumbled and that's why she said we have to either go through summer or go through autumn because we can't go through Under the Mountain, which the entrance was in the Spring Court. That's where, because remember, that's where Brudius was trying to flee through the Spring Court.
Yes.
So Under the Mountain starts at the Spring Court and runs all the way under Prythian to the Night Court. How does Feyre know that? Does she know that from the mural?
How does she know that? And also, like, why? Why is it
Why?
for the lesser fae that can't winnow? Is that the whole point behind it? I don't know.
But like each court has like wards to like prevent like, people with ill will from coming in just willy-nilly coming into their court that don't belong there, right? That's why Valaris was shielded. That's why like the day court has wards.
And it's weird that like why did Amarantha like the Night Court to model her court
after Hewn City, because Hewn City is hell.
hell.
Remember? We were saying
she's
how
from
Hewn
hell.
City is the fifth layer of hell, the ravine.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I'm convinced. Convinced.
Also, something that I just randomly put together when I was in the shower. I don't know.
I want to hear it.
We've talked about Lanthus already. How he
Yeah.
had the black eyes, how he had no emotions, couldn't feel anything.
Right.
That's the same as Amarantha.
It
The
is.
exact
Well,
same as Amarantha.
It's the same as Amarantha, except Amarantha felt things.
Well, she felt jealousy, but she didn't
Yeah.
feel like. But was it really like a human emotion, or was it just her wanting to possess someone?
Well, but then it, yeah.
It didn't have to be like, because the things she did to Claire, the things she did to Lucian, to Tamlin, to Rhys, to all these people, like, not 1 ounce of remorse at all. And the only fear she ever felt, if you can even call it fear, was when she was about to be killed by Tamlin.
That, but also it was anger. She had anger over her sister being murdered.
Yeah, which is odd. I can't figure it out. Like, she had... there has to be some connection with everyone with black eyes. We know that Lanthus was a death god, right? But then we don't know what the bone carver actually looked like. We know the Weaver had black eyes, which means Koshi has to have black eyes.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So it was the Weaver, assumedly the bone carver, and Koshi, because they're siblings.
Mhm.
Lanthus, a literal prince of hell, which we've mentioned is Apollyon from Crescent City, the Star Eater, and Amarantha,
Right.
who have black eyes. And I don't know if they said if Hybern had black eyes or not.
I can't remember. I need to go back and reread it.
But there has to be a connection with all of those. Aside from the fact that, like, well, they were all death gods. If my theory about Amarantha being a death god is right, and that Nesta is actually got her power from the cauldron. Because that was one of my theories, that Nesta got Amarantha's power from the cauldron,
Yeah.
and Elaine got Rhysand's mother's power
You
from
said
the
that.
cauldron.
You said that. Well, and it's really interesting not to we'll sidetrack and then come back, but that they were whispering about Nesta. They remember the bone carver, I think was like, no, it was Lanthes that they were
It was
whispering
both
about
of them. It was both
Was
of them.
it?
It was both.
When she-
Lanthis, so Hybern called Mor a queen, right?
Yeah. Which
And
is
then
weird.
Lanthis called Nesta Queen of Queens. And then the Bone Carver, which you're gonna hate me for bringing up again, told Cassian when he was not carving his bone, "What did you awake that day at Hybern, Prince of Bastards? How she calls to you a queen like my sister, the Weaver, a death god." And then she was literally known as Lady Death. Rhys
Yeah.
said her power was pure death.
What
But
did
then,
you
but then she prevented a death, which we have to do a different video on my Cassian theory, even though you don't like it, okay?
I don't like it. I hate it.
Because this ties into it, and how Nesta was there every single frickin' time Cassian almost died, and how I think that the strings between them are each time that Lady Death spared him from death.
Oh,
She was there every single time he almost died. In the cauldron room, the first time his wings got shredded. In the healer's tent during the war, she covered his body with hers, with Hybern, right? And then there was there was another, it's in my other theory thing, but there was like 2 more times that Cassian almost died. I counted like 5 or 6 in total, and Nesta was in every single scene. Every single scene. I'm gonna go into more depth in another video when we do another video, but
we'll do another video.
But when they consummate their mate bond,
yeah,
it doesn't, so it kind of calls it a mate bond after the fact, but like during it says, "Oh, the strings between our souls."
Yeah.
The golden strings.
Yes.
And then it mentions how it's like heavenly hands playing a harp, and it's like music between us. And I was like, the only time golden strings and music has been equated to magic is when Nesta is wielding something from the trove. So. And again, I'll go into more detail, but I have a theory that Cassian's heart or soul is a part of this age-long spell with the Trove and the whole story of Annalius and all of that stuff. And I don't think it's actually a mate bond, as we know from both Phazand and Aleutian. It's one string. It is one string. It's not multiple strings. It's one string. One, not multiple.
I'm really just hoping.
I didn't mean to go into like a tangent, but I had to equate the death god thing because we were talking about that, and I was like, Nesta's one of them.
I know.
And I can't remember. I thought, other than the silver flames when she's having her nightmare, like, were her eyes black or were they closed? Because I thought there was a part where like Rhys looks at her and he's scared.
No, I thought that they were always like
I know that Rhys was pale and he was scared of her, and I was so happy.
I loved it. I loved it. When they were in the bedroom and she was like
hovering? Yeah.
Yes.
Hovering. Okay, death god.
It was pretty cool. I mean, I love Nesta, you know that. So.
Cassian is like, what is she? And he's like, pure death. And
No.
that's why she calls to you, Cassian. But anyway.
No, Melanie.
Anyways,
you?
moving on. We have to sit down and do like a whole video on that where I can just
Yeah,
like
we will.
rant.
I'm gonna debunk it. I'm not
You
gonna
can
let
try. Vicky has tried so hard to
I know
debunk me.
she has. We need to get Vicky on here too.
No.
Can you imagine? I want to.
Oh no, she's gonna tear me down, and I'm not gonna have any proof in front of me during that video. I cannot find shit when we're filming.
I know.
It just
I can't
doesn't
either.
happen. It's like
It's
the
all
minute
like
I
a
shut
blur.
off the record button, it happens, and I just can't find anything when we're recording. Anyways,
Okay.
to the
To finish
actual
up.
crossover.
Yes.
Oh my god. All right. So, do you want to do a rundown of what you put on your Instagram? Because I wrote the notes here. Under.
I totally want to do a rundown of it.
Go ahead.
Do we want to continue or do we want to pause?
No, we can continue. We're good.
We can continue.
Yeah.
Can you do so? Can you cut this part out? I can do like another 3 minutes. Is that okay? Because I see
that's fine.
Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah.
So should we just finish this? Okay, let's just do the rundown of what I put on here, right here.
Connected crossover. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
But
part.
we'll finish the rest of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, I told you guys my Instagram account that I'm slowly going to be working up is called Liv's Book Life. And on it, for people who didn't have access to the bonus chapter, the bonus chapter at the end of House of Sky and Breath is specifically about like ruin. So I just wanted to I want you guys all to go. I know. I want you guys all to go watch the video that I made because like I break it down specifically why Mel and I think that Lauren is his mom. So just to quickly touch base on it and go over it here. This is just more evidence into our theory that we've come up with that like Lauren is Reason's sister. So the first thing that we want to talk about is that her physical description, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's talking about she has silken dark hair and deep blue eyes like Rune, and she's wearing a lilac colored gown in the bonus chapter. So as we know, Bryce equates Rune to looking like Reason, right? So if Lauren looks like Rune as well, I mean, so Lauren looks like Reason. She's this dark hair.
Someone says, or someone told me, because I haven't read all of Crescent City yet, but somebody tells me that, like, I already know the ending and everything, that she thinks that Reese is Rune at first look. Like, before she notices, like, his hair or whatever, that there's no tattoos or whatever, she looks at his face and she's like, he looks like my brother. Like,
yes.
Right?
How do you explain that? How else do you explain that?
They have to be related. They are related.
That's his uncle. Reason is Rune's uncle. Like,
and it even says that Rune's powers sway towards his mother's line. He has the same powers as Reese.
Yes. You guys, I just can't get over it. It's
mind speaking. No, he's not full Daimati, so it's a little watered down.
Yeah.
But he can mind speak. He has the shadow powers. Like, and that's why the Autumn King, like, hates him. And there's actually, I highlighted it and I meant to send it to you. Or maybe I did. I don't remember. There's a part where I did send it to you that he says, like, if you don't know this by now, then you're not my true son.
Yes.
And then Rune is like, oh yeah, like, Cormac, the son you always wanted. And he's like, yeah, Cormac's way better than you, or something like that. And I was like,
Easter egg right there, people.
Easter egg. SJM being literal, not
yes.
figurative.
Yes, she plays on these words, like these phrases all the time.
Whether he knows or not,
mm-hmm.
You're not my true son then.
And it stings, like it hurts him.
Yeah.
And who wouldn't that hurt, right? But like, maybe he deep down kind of knows that he's not the true son. I don't know. theory. That's the theory that we have, but
So when I put this on my Instagram, I think I got people saying like, well, like obviously he is his son because he wouldn't have raised a kid that wasn't his. And I was like, okay,
not
but
true.
what if he doesn't know?
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, but then the mother wouldn't have slept with anybody else because she's so undyingly loyal to him and she still loves him, which it does bring up in the bonus chapter. Rune is like, she would never say a word against him. Tamlin's mom and dad.
Well,
And how she was like loyal to him and she's his wife. But I'm like, okay, like that's fine. But she doesn't live with him.
no. He's cast her out, you guys. Listen, in all
She doesn't care if he
cases-
sleeps with other people.
No. He doesn't even pay attention to her. He hates like my personal opinion is he despises Lauren. He has never visited her afterwards. It even talks about that. Like down here, where did I put it? Okay. Something like okay, so in it, like, and this is just more sus to me that like Lauren is obviously his sister because it's talking about that she's always put together. She's always dressed up, like ready for visitors, like always put together,
Waiting
ready
for
for a visit.
visitors.
Even when she never has visitors. And Ruin, what I think he makes a mistake here. I think it's an inception. He's like, he's waiting for my dad. She's waiting for my dad, the Autumn King, who wants nothing.
He's
to
waiting for your dad, Tamlin.
So when everyone's like, she wouldn't have slept with someone else, I think she was already pregnant. And that's why when she offered herself up to have his heir, she needed a place to stay in a world where she didn't belong, didn't know what was going on, what she was going to do, how she was going to like eat, survive. She knew nothing about this place.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, like I'll sleep with him, I'll have his heir, and I can live in comfort.
Yes.
So
In
she would still be
protection.
appreciative to him for like being able to live in comfort,
Yes.
even if he doesn't know the whole secret. I think she knows.
She totally knows. Girl was not stupid. I think she
Homegirl
knew
was not stupid.
Homegirl was not stupid. And like, you know, like this, we've seen this in like I've seen this in other stories before that like the woman knows she's pregnant, but she's in deep shit, right? Like
Yeah.
she's through portals, she doesn't know anyone. She
I
can't
gotta
speak the
sleep with
language.
someone, say
Like-
it's their kid. Like, I
Yes.
need a place to stay.
So she sleeps with the Autumn King, right? And she's pregnant. But it's weird to me because like, okay, no one visits her. Nobody.
Mm-mm.
Like she's
Mm-mm.
gossiped about.
She
He
won't
doesn't
even
wanna
call
see
anyone for
her.
help. She won't bother anyone.
No, and he even says in the bonus chapter, like Rune makes it a point, which is so bizarre, that her air conditioning was broken for 2 weeks in the middle of summer, and she just withstood it. She didn't tell a single person. So if you and the Autumn King like don't have a relationship to where like like if you're like somewhat okay, you sired his heir, like why not just like bring it up? No,
Yeah.
he doesn't like her because he knows that baby might not be his.
The fact that he hates that Rune doesn't have any of his fire at all, that's why he was like burning his arms, right?
Yes.
Because he wanted
I
him
think
to
so.
have like get angry enough to have firepower, and he just never did. He
Yeah.
only has like Night Court power and a tiny bit of Starborn power,
Yes.
which I said I think is from Tamlin's line, since his court has the Starlight Pool, and I think that's what the mother's line, it was like a gift to the Spring Court when she was the High Lord's mate.
Yes. It was just bizarre because like even the way Tamlin talks about it, and I know we've talked about it before. No, I never asked and no one ever told me. Like
Yeah.
we don't know the story of that. But also, okay, also things that I think that are interesting about her is she's wearing a lilac gown. Lilac is typically a Spring Court color.
Lilac
right?
is Tamlin's scent. Lilac and cedar
Oh,
And
I freak out.
sometimes petrichor and earth, according to human Feyre, but human Feyre's senses you can't really.
Your sense are off.
Yeah.
Okay, but like also he makes it a point. So what is Lauren's smell, right? And Lauren smells like, and I forget now. Oh, she smells like citrus. Okay. Lauren smells
Who
like
else
citrus.
smells like citrus? Reese, citrus, and sea salt.
And more smells like
And
citrus
more.
and cinnamon.
Did it ever mention Cormac's scent? Because
don't
Cormac was
remember.
their cousin.
I know.
But also, another thing here, Cormac looks exactly like Moore,
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
but
He's-
he just has their shadow power.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
looks exactly like Moore.
Yes. So we have the sense. You have to trace the sense because like she goes into like really great detail about that. So Lauren's sitting here. She smells like citrus and like lavender, I think is what it was, if I remember correctly. But then also she offers Rune when he comes. What does she put on his plate? She fucking puts
All the fruit,
citrus,
the citrus.
grapefruit, and like she's like handing him this. Like, are you hungry? Don't tell me Rezan in the Night Court doesn't have a fucking citrus grove, and that's always why he's, you know,
Not even that,
citrus.
but she lives in a spring themed villa.
Yes.
Spring themed with the fruit trees and the flowers. And like,
He talks about her garden. She has this expansive garden everywhere. Like, you guys.
Yes. And also, I know this is going to be really, really out there, but the way she talks about like the tree, like the fruit trees and all the trees that she has, and who's the only other person that we ever see like in or around a tree? Reese. He's like sitting lounging in the tree waiting for Feyre to get the ring from his mother. And then he's like jumping branch to branch like he's done this all his childhood.
I wonder if he smells like citrus. He just chills up in the citrus trees the whole time. Fucking around. Who knows what he's doing?
She got the citrus trees for the Night Court. She got the garden from the Spring Court. She's waiting for Tamlin to find her.
Why is she waiting? And also, like, why is she so passive? You can't fucking tell me, excuse my French, that that's not like an Illyrian trait, right? Like the
Illyrian females. Like that's why they sent her to work at the library. That's why, like, I feel like his father, like the same way he did with his mother, like he would have like broken her down.
Yeah. She's passive, okay? Those Illyrian women, his wife, his daughter, they're not Feyre. Right? They're not, I'm gonna do this. They're passive and they're sitting back.
But also, you have to think, like, even if she was in love with Tamlin, what was the biggest thing there? The biggest thing is that they had to keep it a secret, right? So she couldn't ever like openly love anyway. She loved him, but she was a secret, just as he was a secret from her family. But also at the same time, it's like, you know, my family can know that he's like friends with my brother, but they can't know that I'm in love with him. Like, this is not fair. Like, she's gonna be more passive, whether she wants to be or not.
Yeah. Her personality is really telling to me too. And also, like, she doesn't have pictures of like Rune or herself.
That was so weird.
Anywhere in the house. Like, he's like I didn't even know people did that.
Yeah. Until I went to my friend's house and like there were their childhood like drawings on the fridge.
Why would you not put pictures in your house?
Well, it could be one of two things. It could be one, like she's already missing her home or whatever. But also, she's not going to put up a picture of like happy family picture of like her and the Autumn King and Rune. Like she could put up a picture of Rune, but Rune's the only one who visits her.
Yeah.
So
but like even
it's odd. Like
should.
Like the drawings and stuff that like when he was a kid, I feel like that's a trait that she learned from her father and her parents that were just like, you're a female, you can't go into scholarly things, like we're not hanging up your achievements.
Yeah, like this is not a warm, loving home. This is a, you are my
Reese
subservient.
is the heir. You're
Yeah.
just nothing.
Why would I put pictures of you in my house?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I thought that was super telling. And then also like the way that Tamlin, when he first meets Feyre, and the way he loves her too, like he's protective over her and he's giving her like these dresses and like
And she's like, I'm not passive and I don't want these gifts and I would rather wear pants. And
but maybe that's how him and Lauren loved.
oh, that's exactly.
Maybe-
What if that was the dress that she escaped in
Yeah.
that he gave her?
Yeah. The lilac colored dress. That's why she's wearing it.
Wait. The lilac dress and the leather baldric.
Yes. And that's why they keep it. It's because they're like memories of each other, right? So you just to, in summary about the connected crossover theory, because I got it. I just feel like there's so many points that lead and descriptions that are like she's passive, her physical description, Rune looks like reason, like all these things, you guys, this is his sister.
It's his sister.